What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PlayStation Portal Podcast right here on YouTube. I'm your host, Fusion64. This is our PlayStation show where we talk about the latest news, rumors, and game releases every week. If you like the show, do me a favor, hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel, share the video out. Um, it was a pretty massive week in gaming, probably the biggest week in gaming of the year. We had the GTA 6 trailer release. I talked about that on the last episode. We had the Game Awards, and there was this question whether PlayStation was going to show up. We really know nothing about what's coming to PlayStation other than really like Fair Games, Concord. We know very little about those games, and Wolverine. I was hoping that PlayStation would show up and maybe we would get some new trailers of new games that are coming from first party, and we kind of got that, but we really kind of didn't. Let's start off, as you can see with the thumbnail of this episode, God of War, Ragnarok, Valhalla. Now, there was a rumor that we're going to get a God of War expansion at the Game Awards, and I thought, and a lot of people thought, the rumor was that it was an Atreus expansion, but turns out it's not. It's a roguelike mode, which basically takes place at the end of God of War Ragnarok, so you really should have beaten that game. And basically, you go to Valhalla, Kratos, and Mimir, and it's a roguelite. So you're basically going through different waves, and once you die, you start back over at the beginning. And I'm interested to see you get items that make you more powerful and that change the world and to make each run different. And I'm interested to see how they do that. I'm going to have to download this and relearn all of the combat in Ragnarok. It should take too long to get back into the flow of things, but I'm really excited to see how they do this, because that's one of my favorite things of God of War, the franchise, is the combat in there is awesome. I can't wait to try this out. You get to, pick your abilities before you start each run, which Spartan Rage you want. You're going to start with fully upgraded skill trees, which is nice for people that didn't get their skill trees all the way upgraded. Your armor is just for look. It doesn't give you any different abilities, so that's kind of neat. So you're not stuck with one armor piece. You can just go with whatever you like to see. So this is really interesting that they're releasing this. And this is going to be the first roguelite mode. And we're going to get the Last of Us Remastered Part 2's roguelite mode next month. So it's really interesting that they're throwing these roguelites in their single player games. And I guess it gives them, easy, quick way to get more content to keep people playing their games. And I think as long as they're good, then I don't see a problem with this. This is really exciting. I'd love to return to this world and, play more God of War. So we'll see how that goes. I'm waiting to see reviews and see if it is worth playing before I reinstall the game. And really, I hope that the rumors of the Atreus DLC, like a bigger story expansion, is still, in the works. Like maybe it's a standalone game, something like Lost Legacy, the Uncharted Lost Legacy, or like the infamous First Light, something like that. Hopefully, we get something in the meantime before the next God of War, like 5-6 years from now. So that was their big announcement. We had a release date for Rise of the Ronin, which we really hadn't seen much else of that. But we now know that that is coming March 22nd. So, I mean, PlayStation's first few months are looking pretty full. Now, I'm really curious. This game doesn't look really like it's a Souls-like game, which I have my fingers crossed that it isn't, because those are kind of hit or miss with me. I'm not looking for something to just bash my head in and, something so difficult. I'm hoping this game leans more like a Ghost of Tsushima, something like that. But I thought the trailer was good. I like you've got your like wing glider that you fly around with. I'm hoping that it's like an open world game like Ghost is. So yeah, that's coming out March 22nd. That is definitely something that's on my radar. I think Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo, they're kind of sometimes can be hit and miss, but I think it does look exciting. It does look good. So that was one of their other announcements that they had there. And the other one, which was pretty surprising, was Final Fantasy 16 DLC available now. It was available, that night. There's two expansions. The first one was released that night, and there's another one later on in the year. And I guess a lot of people said that this expansion was pretty good. Well, it was roughly like 3 to 4 hours. It was another dungeon. And then the big one, this one that released was called The Rising Tide. Now, the big one is called Echoes of the Fallen. And I guess that's the one where you're going to, or maybe The Rising Tide is the one that's coming in spring. The Rising Tide is going to be the one where you fight Leviathan. That's another icon. So that is probably the bigger one. I guess these were $9.99 for this one and $25 for both of them. I guess you must get a discount for buying both of them. I don't think that I'm gonna pop this in and play this right away. I'm gonna wait till the other expansion comes out. I love Final Fantasy 16, one of my favorite games of this past year. So I think I'm gonna hold off and wait until both expansions are out. Go back, play New Game Plus, and play both of those expansions. So overall, those three announcements. They had a trailer for Hellblade or Helldivers 2. We know that's coming in February. Um, Overall, it was not a bad showing from them. I'd have liked to seen a little bit more. So we really don't know what's coming for them outside of the first like 3-4 months. So man, they've got to have a big showcase probably lined up. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for like the first 3 months of the year at least, to let us know what's coming maybe in the summer or fall or winter of next year, because they've got nothing else lined up that we know about. I know that we've got Concord is supposed to come next year, but we really don't even know anything about that game. That's why one of my big criticisms of PlayStation this generation is that their communication with the fan base has sucked. It's been awful ever since they really left E3 in 2019. It's kind of just like, all right, well, hold your breath and wait for them to, grace us with their presence and give us, information on the games that are coming out. I just think that they're the least fan friendly of the big three between Xbox and Nintendo. Nintendo, like clockwork, they're going to have a spring, summer, fall at the very minimum Nintendo Direct with little ones sprinkled in. And now Xbox is still doing their E3 presentation. And then last year they did like a Xbox Developer Direct in the beginning of the year, which I'd imagine they're going to do another one. And here PlayStation, it is like, all right, well, flip a coin. Is it going to come this month? Is it going to come next month? We're going to wait and see. But, I wonder, like, what are all these other first party teams doing where they're not, maybe they're just waiting till these games are closer to being done before they start announcing stuff. I mean, the PlayStation 5 is selling like gangbusters. Maybe they feel that there's really no reason for them to come out and have to show games. So yeah, it's a little frustrating with that. Other than that, really big, there's some other big announcements there at the Game Awards for PlayStation that are multi-plats. Like the end of the show was Monster Hunter Wilds. I know that's going to be a massive game. A lot of people are looking forward to that. Maybe my favorite announcement from the Game Awards was Sega announced like a whole bunch of their classic games. They're bringing back Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi, Jet Grind Radio, and it seems like they are bringing back a lot of their iconic franchises, probably in more of like a double A fashion instead of like a triple A fashion, I'm guessing. I don't think that these are going to be like super huge budget $70 games, but I mean, Sega has a ton of classic IP that they can bring back, and I would be super excited. So yeah, that was probably maybe the biggest announcement for me. There was Sega coming back and bringing all these classic games. Probably the second biggest one for me is, I think it's called Light No Fire, the game by Hello Games. Now they had Sean Murray get up there from No Man's Sky and talk about their new game, and it's basically something similar to No Man's Sky. I believe it's one procedurally generated world, like a massive planet-sized world and set in more of like a fantasy uh, environment. And yeah, it looked great. I think he started talking, and I'm like, whoa, don't start getting ahead of yourself like you did with No Man's Sky and just say all this stuff that's not going to happen. But I think they've laid the groundwork for this game with No Man's Sky, and they know how to do all of this stuff that originally they wanted in No Man's Sky. And over the years, they've built this amazing game in No Man's Sky, and I think it's going to be a lot easier for them to pull a lot of that stuff and put it in this game. So I have really big expectations for that game. There's a bunch of cool little indie games shown at the Game Awards, but overall, I'd say, yeah, this was a really great Game Awards for announcements. I mean, the awards, I felt that Spider-Man was 0 for 7. They were nominated for 7 awards, didn't get any wins in there, but PlayStation, I think the only award that they got really kind of PlayStation adjacent would be for the Last of Us TV show. They won Best Adaptation, and Neil Druckmann got up there, got the award for that. Nintendo was basically a no-show. I know it's a PlayStation show, but Nintendo really was a no-show. They didn't have any new announcements. Xbox had quite a few announcements, so they brought it. And PlayStation, I think they showed enough to satisfy me for the Game Awards. But like I said, we need to have a bigger show from them coming in the beginning of the year. But I mean, if you're a PlayStation fan, their spring is lined up pretty well. And I was just looking to see. I mean, they've got The Last of Us Part 2 remastered coming up in January. We've got Helldivers 2 in February. I'm really excited for that. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that is in February as well. So February is going to be huge for them. Rise of the Ronin in March. Silent Hill 2 Remake, that's an exclusive. I don't know if that has a date or not, but that's coming early next year. Foam Stars, Lost Soul Aside is still out there, and Stellar Blade. And even Death Stranding 2 is out there in the wings. So that was the game I thought that would be shown off maybe with a release date at the Game Awards, but Kojima, obviously, he showed off his Xbox game. So we still got Death Stranding 2 out there. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really hoping that is 2024. And like I said, Concord, we need to see what that is. So, I mean, they've got, their first quarter lined up with tons of stuff to play. It's just outside of that first quarter, we need some more release dates and announcements. So hopefully they get that done. Another big story I wanted to touch on this week was Fortnite's new season started, and man, they are just kicking ass. They have got so much stuff. They came out with a new map. The new map's awesome. There's a whole bunch of new weapons. I'm really enjoying that. But the big thing that they've got this season is their Fortnite Lego crossover, which is basically Lego Minecraft. I've played, quite a few hours of this with my son. He really likes this. And what it does is take your Fortnite characters and kind of Lego-fies them and put you in this survival world where you have to go. And it's so similar to Minecraft, where you can make shovels, pickaxes to mine for rock, axes to cut down trees. You take that stuff, you build your camp out. You've got these machines that build like swords and lumber, so you can build better and better houses, better and better stuff for your camp. And you kind of go further and further into level, go into caves. Supposedly there's dragons and stuff like that. We haven't gotten that far, but it is a really neat game. And I'm wondering how much of the player base from Minecraft that this game is going to suck away, because they beat their record for concurrent players from last month, which was like 6.6 million. They topped out at like 7 million this week. And I think like 2.5 million of those players were on this Lego Fortnite, which is, oh man, it's insane. And not only that, they dropped their rocket racing mode, which is kind of fun. It's a neat little arcade racer. I played a little bit of that. I don't think it's anything that's, amazing, but I thought it's a neat little addition. And then they have their Guitar Hero, like Rock Band spin-off by Harmonix, where you're basically using the buttons on the DualSense to basically play the guitar. And what's cool about this is I guess they've said that they are going to actually release some plastic instruments similar to, back in the day with Guitar Hero and Rock Band. And yeah, I guess we're going back to that, which is pretty cool. But the one thing that adding all of these new modes did for Fortnite was give them a ton of more stuff to sell you in the store. And it's just ridiculous. Like these, some of these cars for Rocket Racing are like 2,500 to 4,000 V bucks. So you're looking at $25 to $40 for a car, which is like mind blowingly crazy. They've added like a new battle pass for the Fortnite Festival, which is their Guitar Hero type thing. So like they have just added more of these modes, more monetization. So I think that they're going to keep just printing money. It's they're just wildly successful right now. Yeah, but the other thing that I've else been playing is I just started Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, I've held off on that. I wanted to I wanted to hold off until this update that just came out to play this, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm only about 5 hours in. It seems very high quality. I'm really I'm loving it so far. So I don't have much else to say about that. Playing a little bit on the Portal. This is a great Portal game. I'm really enjoying playing on the Portal. One thing about the Portal, I was asking anybody who has watched this video, if you guys have a grip, I think I might end up having to buy a grip. I know I made fun of those grips on Amazon in one of my previous videos, but if anybody has a grip that they like for their Portal, make sure to do me a favor and leave a comment in below and send me a link to the one that you have, because it kind of slips out of my hand a little bit, and I would rather have it to where a little bit more gripped so I can have my fingers and hands down a little bit on it. Uh, Other than that, I'm still loving the Portal. Still been playing a ton of that, once every couple nights. So, yeah. That's it for this week's show. Once again, if you like the podcast, you like what I'm doing here on this channel, do me a favor, hit that like button, consider subscribing. Leave me a comment below what you thought about the show. What do you think about these announcements that PlayStation had on the Game Awards? Was it sufficient enough for you? Would you like to see more? Do you think we're going to get a PlayStation showcase in these first couple months? Yep, that's it for today. Fusion 64 out.